What's up guys, it's Wilson, also known as Designed by Will, and just to let you guys know that the tech pack has officially been updated, but more on that later. Make sure you check your email and your spam for the link to download the new updated file. If you guys have already purchased it, it will just be a quick little email saying, hey, this is the update, this is the link, and you guys can download it from there. What's up fam, it's Wilson, also known as Designed by Will, and in today's video we're going to be designing a little mini collection. Now one of these pieces I'm actually going to be printing for my personal brand. This won't be in particularly a tutorial, but more so just a visualizer on how I did this whole project. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. I primarily started off by getting my focal point, which is going to be Pharrell Williams. I really wanted to do an updated video on how to make the more bootleg style t-shirts. That video was really popular and it really launched this channel because a lot of people wanted to learn how to do that. And now the bootleg style has actually quite morphed into something more personal, so people are adding more personal touches to their bootleg designs, something like the old Tyler the Creator video that I did on designing that merch for him. So yeah, after getting the images that I wanted, this took ages. I feel like an hour and a half was taken away just for finding the correct images. You know, having these images really does make your life a lot easier, and it's better than having to go back and find images again once you started your creative process, because you never want to exit your creative flow. Once you exit the creative flow, it's really hard to get yourself stuck into like designing again. Now, once we got our images, we're just going to be cutting them out using the pen tool or whatever method that you use to cut out images in Photoshop, whether that's masks, lasso selection tool, pen tool, even shapes. I've seen people use brushes. So whatever is more comfortable to you, we're just going to be cutting out these images and getting them ready for placement. Once I had him cut out, this is going to be the front of the design. So I'm just going to do something simple. It's going to be a big face t-shirt. I know somebody a while ago asked me if I could do the tutorial on how to make this type of t-shirt where essentially you just make a big head as the focal point for the front of the graphic. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing for this design, because I really like how that aesthetic looks, and also I am printing these t-shirts, so I am taking pride in how this design is going to look, because I have to please myself because I'm my own client within this. You can see me here trying to put this grill in a mouth where it's just quite not working because of the placement of the teeth in the grill. It just looks quite off, mainly because they're angled upwards. Now I could go in Photoshop and use the warp option to make it fit the teeth, but I just didn't have time for all of that. It was already 11 p.m. at this point, so I just went out and found a different image to fit the teeth that was already within that style. Simply went in with a lasso selection tool, and then I went in with a mask to make sure that it was all in there and fitting perfectly. And then I finally went in with some clipping masks and a black or brown brush to make it look like the teeth are sunken into the mouth rather than just sitting on top of the image. Yep. Then I just cut out the rest of the images for the back graphic so I could start with the placement on the back. I used a range of different selection and cutting out methods, like using the subject selection in Photoshop and just cleaning up the mask, or whether that was just going in by hand with the pen tool, just for whatever suited the sort of cut that I wanted. For stuff that's going to be in the foreground, I went in and used the extra time to use the pen tool, but for some stuff that's going to be in the background, I just used a subject selection tool, mainly because it's not that accurate and you do have to go in and fix it in a lot, so it can be hidden by making it smaller. And two, the other ones are just more accurate, so using that pen tool will give you the more straighter line, so that can be in the foreground. Once I had all my images cut out, I just did a very simple placement where we fitting the early 2000s style sort of graphics where you have like that car, um, you know, just the basic generic stuff. The car in the foreground, the guy in sort of the foreground but background, maybe a cutout of his face or call out object like I did in the previous bootleg t-shirt of Pop Smoke. And yeah, that's basically it. And once I had the placement how I wanted it, I just went in and adjusted some of the colors to sort of start the actual blending and designing process. For this project, I went with a more space theme, primarily because I've always thought Pharrell was an alien because this dude never ages. Plus, he's just out of this world. It was pretty cool, so I just put two and two together, and that was my thinking process. So there's going to be a lot of space themes in this, and plus the Babe symbol, which he was a very heavy fan of, or very big, like promoter of Babe, has the shooting star as one of their marketing or promotional logos. So I just put two and two together and used those into this project to more so, I would say, cap capture Pharrell Williams' aesthetic or personality, because he is really in this era, this 2000s era. He was really into Bape and stuff like that. So I just try to all put that in here without putting Bape on the shirt, I guess. In my original video that I first started this channel with, I talked about using framing as a way to frame your designs onto a t-shirt rather than just having them float in space, which is quite ironic because now these items are floating in space, but I'm still using the same technique that I started with using those smoke brushes from Brush Easy. Just simply search up brush or smoke brushes. And yeah. To more so elevate this design, I just wanted to add in some 3D elements, mainly because I found like a lot of people don't tend to use these 3D elements within Photoshop. One, because they're dying out and Photoshop is going to get rid of them. And two, is because they're super annoying and it makes your program crash no matter what type of computer you have. You have the craziest graphics card, whatever you want, it will crash. It's just because it's not compatible within Photoshop anymore. They're trying to simmer it out, but I really like using these Photoshop 3D elements because they're very easy to use as opposed to going into Blender and then learning a whole new program and then having to transfer like a PNG into a graphic, where it's easier to have everything in one file so you can edit it as you go. Yeah, if you guys really want to learn how to do 3D, check out the last video because I talk about the process on learning this. And I also tag the video by Texture Labs who does a full breakdown on it. Lastly, I just went in with some adjustment layers to start blending in the sort of images because right now they're all just a flat, bright color, so it just looks a little bit off. Just went in with some curves, added in some highlights from previously to match the sort of purple sun coming from the back of the moon, and just make it all look like it's meant to be one cohesive piece. To add some final touches, I just added in this Babe Star. I couldn't find a PNG, so I just built in Illustrator again, made it 3D, and put it within the graphic. And now all that's left is just to go in with some final effects to make it more so look a little bit more grunge. Yet again, I'm gonna be referencing the last video that I made. It didn't get that much views, which is very disappointing because that video breaks down how I made this sort of really used, scanned in sort of graphic that's a little bit more realistic in terms of grunge. I started off by just blending the front design to more so match it. I'll give you guys a little quick recap on what I do. First, I just go to color, half tone, and then I set that to 4, the size I'm meaning. And then once I got that on the image, I go into filter gallery, and then I either get the crayon or the what's called graphic pencil and adjust that on top of the color halftone, so you get this sort of printed effect, and then a rough version of the printed effect which I put on top. Set the blending mode to sort of lighten, and I got a couple of more other stuff such as textures, etc., and even curves to more so dull the colors to bring everything together. Like I said, this is all in the last video. There's a whole segment about it towards the end where I'll show you guys how to get this sort of look. Lastly, I was just playing with a bunch of gradient maps to change the color effects to see what it would look like. But then I just settled for the original because it looked the best. And now we got the big face or big face t-shirt, whatever you want to reference it. And that's design 1 completed. So for the rest of the design, it's just going to be something more low key. I got references from, I think it's Supreme 2020. It was just a Supreme logo, but in a chrome effect. And I thought that would just be like a really nice piece for a streetwear brand just to have. You know, you just got your classic branded logos, and now you got stuff that you can stylize within that brand. Now, this one is going to be an official graphic for my brand. The next video is going to be a process in ordering these t-shirts. They're going to be in bulk. These are not going to be samples. I'm going to be running through that whole process with you guys once I complete it, showing you guys the process so you don't get scammed, because a lot of people have been DMing me, how do you order off Alibaba without getting scammed? And I would love to take the individual time to watch and show you guys how to do this, but it just takes way too long to sit someone down and show them the whole process because one, no one got 4 to 5 hours out of their day, and plus some of you guys just don't have the designs ready, so it's just wasting my time. But I'm going to show you guys the process. Like I said, for design 2, it's going to be nothing crazy, inspired by this Supreme shirt. I'll just pop it up right here, and it's going to be the same process as making a 3D type within Photoshop. Like I said again, check out the last video because I go through this whole process and I link you guys how to learn how to make this 3D through Texture Labs. It's a really good video. I can't stress that enough. I think the most annoying part about this 3D is probably just letting it render, which takes for me around 10 minutes for something this simple, which I hate. Mainly because my Mac isn't just good enough for rendering, I guess. Maybe I just need to go to Windows, Team Windows, Psych, never. Anyway, I just played with the Chrome with some of the packs from Mac Pack 49, some of the gradients to see which one looked the best. But then I just settled for the classic Chrome because you can't go wrong with the Chrome. Plus, this also reminds me of the DOT. If you guys remember the DOT that everyone got reps of, I remember that DOT. It was pretty cool, and Dior did a really good job in that whole Chrome effect. Um, really good branding. Now for design 3, it's not going to be anything crazy. We're just going to be making some graphics for a tracksuit set. Now I did update the tech pack. Finally, we've got updates so you guys can easily change the garment zipper colors now. We got some new garments in, including some new zipper hoodies, a new hoodie in general. It was from my old pack on Patreon. Somebody linked it and said, hey, could you make this within the new pack? And I said, yeah, fine. And we also got some new suggestions for a new Letterman jacket, so we introduced that. We got some new shorts. It's an amazing pack. I can't wait for you guys to get the update and start playing with it. And yeah, we're going to be using it to build this sort of tech or this sort of set. I'm doing nothing crazy. I just got a threshold on top of this layer for this type. And I'm just going in with a pen to make it look like the type is like free formed, make it more personal towards the brand. The influence for this one was the Louis Vuitton like graffiti monogram jeans. If you guys have seen those look quite sick, and I like the type on the front, but I just didn't want to go through the process of like roughing out the type and finding a type that I like. Like I said, I like doing these designs within a time period or time frame, which is really fun. After I got the type how I like it, I simply just take a screenshot and then I use the image trace tool within Illustrator to make it a official like sort of graphic without having it get distorted when shaping it up and stuff like that. And that's very simple, just image trace. You can pause it and copy my settings here, but any settings will work as long as you just press ignore white. And now it's finally time to make the mockups. Now this is the updated tech pack like I said before, sorry. And we're going to be using these cargo pants as the primary example for this. And I also really like the what's it called, the cargos from Cortez. Cortez makes some really nice cargos, and cargos are getting really popular. There was another brand that I saw on TikTok. I'm pretty sure it's called Minus Two. They also have some really nice cargos, and I really like their branding and how they took that aesthetic. We're also going to be using the new zip up hoodie or full zip hoodie. The zipper is changeable in terms of color, and that was one of the main primary like issues that was going on that people kept DMing me about. Because for me personally, whenever I ordered from manufacturers when it came to zippers and stuff like that, it didn't really matter because the zippers, unless I'm making a custom like emblem for the zipper in itself, it's all very generic stuff. Unless you ask for YKK zips, which then is an extra cost. And if you're starting out streetwear brand, of course you want to be the highest quality. That's why I don't print stuff personally for myself. I feel like when you print stuff yourself, it's cool, but if you don't have the proper machinery to do so, it will fire back on your brand because people will be looking for quality, especially if you're charging anywhere between, I would say, like 50 to $100 for a hoodie or something like that. You don't want to be doing that yourself, I guess, unless you're very skilled for in building garments. And for my American viewers who are going into fall/winter, we have some new flares, and you guys will really benefit from this pack the most, I believe, because most of the stuff is jackets and cargo shorts, pants, and some summery stuff like some new 5-inch seam shorts inspired by Eric Emanuel, and the classic basketball shorts from like Nike and Jordan, stuff like that. You guys will see them and know what they are. And I just wanted to show off this sort of process of making a very simple like set or tracksuit set for the bottoms and tops, but I didn't end up using it in this collection because it wasn't the primary focus. Lastly, I thought something was missing and I just added a simple scully or skull cap. I really like the skull caps by this brand called Filthy. Filthy makes some really good skull caps, mainly because I like all the primary colors that they have, and it just really looks good. I always see it on Pinterest. But yeah, this is it basically. We're just gonna review the designs and let me know what you guys think in the comments. So for design one, I'm giving this one a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. I know nothing can ever be so perfect. I'll change the placement on the back a little bit, but this is going to be printed. This is probably going to be the final look for this. And I really like this graphic, especially with all the textures and everything going on. It just looks really nice. And I feel like these little textures and these little effects makes the design stand out from the rest of the crowd. I mess with design to a lot. Also, I give this one a solid 7 out of 10. Sorry, that was in English. I like it a lot, but you know how expensive it is to print hoodies and cargo pants. Even as a set, you're looking at around 25, or lowest if you get like 5 to 600 units, around 17 USD per garment, which is absolutely wild. So if you can't push that much, I feel like getting these designs to print without sampling even is going to be a very hard process. So that's why I give it a 7. But other than that, I love this design. Lastly, design 3, just a filler design, nice little t-shirt to throw into their collection to grab a different audience. The chrome t-shirt inspired by the Supreme 2020. It's a cool design. Give this one a solid 6 out of 10. Nothing special. Anyone can do it. It looks cool. And it'll just be there to fill in the collection. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys when I see you. I can't believe it's been 3 weeks since I made my last videos. But anyway, take care. I love y'all. Peace.